Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a very special episode of No Series today. This is instead an interview that we are doing with the team behind Bionicle Ignition. There is more, but we'll get into that. This is extremely exciting, and so of course I'm LJ.
I'm Meso.
And we are here with some of the extraordinarily talented team behind this fan project, Bionicle Ignition Battle for Power. This is extremely exciting. If you're watching this, the episode is already out. A link will be in the description below. And without further ado, let's get some introductions with some of the team, a team of which is over 140 people. So, starting with name order, go ahead and introduce yourselves and what you do in the project.
Hello, my name is Lovice. I am the project leader and founder of Bionicle Ignition Battle for Power. I helped create this gigantic series.
Hi, I'm Kodiak. I'm one of the keyers. That's mainly what I do. I've also done like some builds for the project, like Pooks, and then also like the forearm giant and Botar's replacement when like we get to them. But it's mainly just Keen.
Hi, I'm Regular Overlord. I am a vocal director for the project, as well as a voice actor for Toa Tuyet and Marka.
I'm Tepeng. I'm the animation lead for the stop motion animation on the project. I'm also the voice of Kapura.
Hello, I'm Virgil. I have a background in the visual effects industry, and I am the CG supervisor and the supervising editor for Project Nui Rising.
You are all legends. Thank you very much for joining us to talk to us today. We have a lot of questions and a lot of comments, and I'm sure we will conduct them all in a very professional manner, as we do, and talk about lots of fun things about the, production. But before any of that, dude, that was so cool! That's so awesome!
Fantastic!
Can I just, the moment when they used their laser vision and it went pew, 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 and everything crashed down.
And swoosh, swoosh. Meso, don't forget the swoosh, swoosh. It reminded me back in 2008, just taking Vampra and Antraz, swoosh, swoosh, swoosh.
You real, genuinely. Before we get into anything else, stuff like this, this was always one of those things I always wanted to see visualized, and it's kind of surreal that it, not to say that there haven't been other 08 stop motions, but to see something this high quality to kind of capture the vibe of this year 17 years after it came out. Number one, I'm old. Number two,
oh my gosh.
Thank you guys. Genuinely, it was such a treat. And I'm looking forward to the rest, and I cannot wait to ask you a million questions. But I just wanted to get that out straight up. Very hyped. Thoroughly loved it.
It's great to hear.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So
we've loved working on it and conceptualizing it and see it all come together. It's been wild, especially for how long we've been working on it. Some of these clips, I think the first clip of animation that you see in the entire stop motion was originally filmed in 2019 by Lovis.
Okay, that's insane, and that was gonna be my first, perfect segue of so did production of this start in 2019 or was it even earlier?
So yeah, production started in 2019. The concept for it was developed in 2018. Basically, I took a year to learn how to do stop motion animation in 2018, and then in late 2019 the animation started for the first scene with Pterodax and Miserix, and then after that COVID hit, and I was like, okay, what if we don't do just the first 24 pages of the book Shadows in the Sky? What if we add some more people to the team, do some extra things, and then boom, we hit 90 people in 2021, and right now we have over 140 people on the team right now.
That's
absolutely
insane.
surreal.
I did not realize it was such a big organization. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Now,
How? Okay, yeah,
yeah, no, I was gonna say. So my understanding of this project is it goes back quite a ways, but it's in a way a continuation. So tell us a little bit about how it started, kind of where the inspiration was drawn. Like, where did you guys really sit down, buckle down, and go, "Hey, we're gonna start doing this"?
Okay, so 2018, I was like, I'm just gonna kind of do this for fun. 2019, I got like a little bit more serious. I only had about like 9 or 8 team members on the team, and then when I was like, once 2020, I got laid off from my job because of COVID, and I was like, oh, I have unfortunately all the free time in the world. I'm gonna really buckle down, and we're gonna make something really, really special. Many people might be familiar with Bionicle NP's Ignition films. His first one,
Yeah.
Island of Doom and City of the Lost. I
Classics.
knew he was not going to make um, anything with 2008. I originally was just going to do the first 24 pages of Shadows in the Sky and be like, that's it, I'm done. And then I was like, well, what if we did like just the whole book? Or what if we did more stuff? And it just became the whole 2008 story after that.
What a Herculean effort to take that on. I respect
true.
your courage almost as much as your ability to be like, I'm gonna make a project based in retail 2008.
This
Like-
is why most people stick to like 01. Like, all right, this is just
easy.
one little
Yeah.
slice. We're good. But this is
Yeah, a lot of the 08 stuff
incredibly
is really
ambitious.
wacky with like all the like the Bakuda flying, the aerial fights, then the vehicles later on. Is like there's a lot. The scope
And
is
your
pretty big.
so your intention, which obviously plans life can change, so but like your hope is to adapt everything in 08, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
All the short stories.
It's the pipe dream.
Toa Empire universe. It's everything.
I'm hyped for Journey of Takanuma.
For like
We
a
have-
bit of context on it, like some of the amount we have like planned. When I was originally brought on to the project in 2021, first as a voice actor and then an animator, I was assigned to characters from the 2003 Matoran and Mazika and Voltraz, which is not happening until much, much later. And is storylines that's much, much more convoluted.
Oh yeah. Dude,
That
brothers
is-
in
yeah.
arms.
It's a massive story. Like you have the 3 books, so many of the serials and short stories. Takanuva's blog actually has some things that we have to add and sprinkle in there.
Federation of Fear. Like,
Federation of Fear.
That
There's
one's
so
fun
much.
to animate.
Mm-hmm.
the many deaths of Toa 2 yet? Is that 07? That's 07.
It's
safe on that.
technically 07, but we have to put it in there. And that's why we have to, because there's a reason why people are going to ask, who is this? Why are we in the dark mirror? I don't know who
That
this
is true.
person is. So narratively, we had to put in me, that's the Toa 2 yet, but it's going to look so amazing. Like we already have the
I can't
scripting
wait.
and everything planned out. The voice acting's recorded. It's going to be really amazing, and we have some of the footage already filmed for it as well.
I can't wait. That's incredible.
And if you're a keen viewer at home, you may be thinking, "Hey, hold on a second. This first episode took 6 years to produce. How are we gonna, actually get to the finish line in any kind of reasonable sense?" And we have a lot of we essentially learned all of the major lessons on episode 1, all the trials and tribulations of production, and it's looking like episode 2, the short story and the short stories that we're working on in the future are going to be released at a much higher cadence than anything we've previously done. So it's really exciting. We're gonna have a bunch of stuff to show with the VFX breakdowns, a lot of stuff technically that's available. And I'm really excited the system for the system that was built by David Egan, our technical director, and myself, to really make this into like it's at this point a miniature film studio. We have like asset project tracking. We have so much. We're really excited to really get this show on the road.
Yeah, I would say
That
like,
is very
Virgil and David were the real MVPs, like when they came in, because they're like industry VFX artists. They've done like really cool things.
Yeah, they have insane. Virtual, are you able to, or do you want to talk about some of the stuff you've worked on? Because you've worked on some insane stuff.
I have since I last let people know. Unfortunately, none of my projects are. All of the projects are still bound by NDAs, but the ones that I can talk about are the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was the first film that I was put on as a pre-visualization artist. And then after that, I was brought on to Avatar: The Way of Water as a sequence artist. And since then, I can't say anything else. But once things are out, I can maybe talk about it.
Okay, so like you're very familiar with indie projects then, just some like
Small
fun
scale
passion
Yeah.
projects,
Yeah.
small scale. Yeah.
Actually, it's funny 'cause I come kind of from a background of like I did 3D stuff. I did very briefly stop motion a while ago. So like before I entered the industry, I came from a background of like kind of doing it the amateur way, doing it myself. So I'm like I understand. At least when I came into the project, I understood where we were, and I was like, "Hey, myself and then David shortly after, we have some really helpful knowledge and like stuff pulled from the industry. Let's implement that so that we can actually have something like higher quality, faster, with a better top-down creative control." I'm pumped. I'm super excited.
That's fantastic.
On that note, actually, from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, this is I bring this up because this is like a clip you can find online. It's a super cool clip. You talked to me about there was one scene at the beginning with the Adam I forget his name.
Warlock?
With like
Adam
Groot and stuff
Warlock.
that you
Adam
did
Warlock.
Adam Warlock that you did the previs on with like the fight scene. Can you talk a little bit about that so we can I just want to show you off because your work is so good and you need more praise for it.
Well, thank you. So yeah, for I think the first shot that I worked on that's shown in Guardians 3 is the fight between Adam Warlock and Groot. The shots where Groot lands on him and then is encasing him in all this bark, and then they're flying up and crashing into buildings. That took like a number of months to really like figure out creatively and implement in a previous sense. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to work on, and it gave me some good experience in like multi-character interaction where like one character's trying to pull, they have their own motives, they're trying to do one thing, and the other character's kind of fighting back in very close quarters. So that was one of my favorite things to work on.
Fantastic.
I think there's actually there's the company I work for is called The Third Floor. There's I think some of those shots are they have like a show reel. So maybe we can have that kind of shown in the background. That's the stuff that I've worked on.
That's so cool.
It actually kind of reminds me of there was a project. I'm not sure if you remember this one, called Nui Legacy.
Yeah, I remember that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He actually, I know him really well a little bit.
Oh.
When I started this project, I asked him to teach me stop motion, and he did.
That makes a lot of sense.
He was
Yes,
so
'cause
nice.
For anyone unfamiliar, Nui Legacy is a fellow that was working on Okoto Origins, which was a stop motion series that visually is very similar about G2. It was trying to kind of like revitalize G2's image, and it was spectacular. The channel has been dark for about 8 years now, but this project reminded me a lot of that, and it gave me a lot of that same kind of nostalgia for those episodes. It's like, oh yes, this looks so good.
Because it's like with a stop motion, there's been so much over the years wonderfully animated stop motion work. People have done so much great stuff in the community, but like very few projects have reached like a high like overall production value. When you talk about things like the cinematography, the VFX, the shot composition, the just overall cinematic like presentation, those two things don't always go hand in hand, and the fact that this project has both is really cool. And it shows, it elevates it to kind of like a higher degree of professionalism.
I think that's actually another good question. For those that maybe are looking to get into stop motion or make a project of their own that's very similar to this, talk a little bit about the production pipeline in terms of the stop motion, the 3D animation that is interspliced, and the rotoscoping that goes into this entire thing, like the keen work as well.
Absolutely.
This is
Yeah. For I'll start with like a little bit like project management and that stuff. Set your expectations. I mean that like seriously. Like you need to set your expectations for how you think things are gonna go. Don't be discouraged if things don't always go your way. It's hard. I've been working on this for quite a long time, and remember to take breaks. And your team members need to take breaks too. If you are doing this as a fan project, you have to treat it like that as well. Don't burn yourself out, and don't burn your team members out. You're all doing this for fun. You gotta keep making sure that you're having fun, and other people are having fun making this. If you're not doing that, then it's gonna feel like a job, and you don't want something that you're doing for Bionicle or any fan project to feel like a job. You want to do this to just be like, we're making something cool. Topeng, yeah, your lead of animation. Go ahead and talk about how you can your own thoughts about animation.
Yeah. As like from the stop motion perspective, one of the biggest things that I've learned over the years, even before we started integrating the more polished version of the pipeline, which we now have thanks to Virtual and David. Shout out to y'all because it helps a lot. But one of the biggest things is pre-visualization and like doing things piecemeal. So for one of the scenes, the episode has already come out now, so I can talk about it. For like the shadow hand scene, which is the scene where the one gold Matoran like whips out a sword and is like defending our home. But like during that one, I had some challenges in animating it because of how it was scripted. For a lot of the scenes in this, we kind of get very lucky in the sense that they're outside in a very open environment. You don't have any terrain to worry about necessarily. So you can just kind of not really worry about what the world around you is going to look like. But for this scene, we're in an enclosed space. There's a single entrance / exit and another direction they're supposed to be going in. And all of the characters have to be in relatively the same place, relative to each other when like the camera angle switches, because they're all in about a circle. So I had a bit of trouble even before I started animating, just visualizing how I was going to shoot this and how I was going to get the camera angles and what I was going to do for it. And especially because as a stop motion person, I'm really good in 3D. I'm really good at fabrication, at modeling, at like engineering stuff, because I also do that in addition to animation. But I'm not as good with 2D animation and drawing and like the animatic thumbnail stuff. I'll see if I can get pictures that we could like put up on screen here. But essentially what I did is a system called pop throughs. This is something that's standard practice within the stop motion industry for planning out a scene once you've already had the storyboards. However, for a project like ours, they work pretty great as animatics, because you're essentially what a pop through is just a very minimally low frame rate version of a scene, just to get a sense of how many steps characters going to have to take, the spacing that they're going to be in, different camera angles, physical constraints, that sort of thing, which is exactly what you want an animatic to be. So using the pop through as an animatic helps a lot. It helps me a lot to get even before the pre-visualization was done, get a sense of the space I was working in and how I was going to keep things consistent. And now for the scenes I'm working on right now I'm working on a scene with Nutran and Vikan, and I'm doing the pre-visualization in that same way. Now it's a bit more, I guess, formalized because of the system that David and Virtual put in place, where we have as I'm working on the pre-visualization, I give it to them to get like notes, and they're like, "Oh, this could be a cool thing to put here," and then I go for that because I'm like, "Ah, that's so cool." But you're right, and then that goes forward. One of the big things for something like this, and for stop motion especially, which is something we can kind of get carried away with, is not doing everything straight ahead. There's the tendency of, especially amateur animators, to do an entire thing straight ahead, just like, I'm going to shoot this shot, then I'm going to shoot that shot, then I'm going to shoot that shot and that shot. That's good for like small little YouTube videos and meme stuff. But when you're working on a bigger project, it makes things a lot more difficult, and uh, it almost hyperbolically sounding, not hyperbolic, contradictory sounding, uh, wastes your time, because when you get to animate the scene, you don't know what you're doing, and you're like, oh, is this going to look good? Is this going to look good? So getting that pre-visualization down, it allows you to just bang through all of the who's, what's, and ifs, and figure out, this is what I'm going to do. It also allows for, if you're, say I was going to make like a 5-minute animation with like my Transformers or something, or like my BIONICLE, or what have you. It allows me to get everything planned out at the beginning. And then once that's all planned out, I don't have to worry about the logistics when I go to actually animate that, because I'll have figured it all out. It's quick, it's simple, and it simplifies everything else. And it makes the actual animation part a lot more fun and a lot more easy. And that's what we're all about.
Yeah, wow. That definitely makes a lot of sense. Very commendable approach.
Thank you. I think actually we talked with Max from, what's it called? I can't blank on the name. Project Mangai, and they were talking about their process for storyboarding and stuff, which is something we needed to really get on, because as a stop motion project, in comparison to a 2D project, it's more difficult to do that pre-visualization in an animatic and storyboard sense. And something that he has shared from his experience as well is that, for all intents, I think he said, for all intents and purposes, the storyboards could be as simple as stick figures, which is not to say that the operation they got going on there is simple or like stick figures, but just during the rough planning stages, that's all you need to do, and it can save you a lot of time and a lot of confusion.
That makes a lot of sense. So there's a lot of pre-planning that needs to go into a large-scale project such as this. It's going to make it a lot harder for not only an individual, but also the team, if you just kind of rush in and ambitiously want to make a thing, but don't have all your ducks in a row, as it were.
And it's also good to like streamline production as well, because like you said, a lot of times you need to dial things down to like, well, what is necessary to ensure like a good workflow. It sounds like you guys really have that figured out, and I mean it shows. And it's something you were saying earlier about how like it's been so many years in development of this first episode, and people are worried like, oh, you won't get to see it till however many years, the finished story. Well, like you said, you work on that workflow over time. You iron out the kinks in it. You figure out how things are going to work the best. And it sounds like you guys are running a pretty tight ship over there, and that's incredibly respectable.
We're trying. We're trying. So, talking about pre-visualization, or at least planning out your shots, that's one of the first things that I kind of realized coming in. One of the big kind of things we figured out is that I was originally brought on just to help out with that one sequence of the Matoran running underground in the cave from the Shadow Hand. And then it kind of grew into like, oh, this is a large sequence, and I just did one part of it. And I didn't realize that there were multiple different stop motion animators assigned to different parts of this sequence. And to plan something like this out top down is virtually impossible without some kind of like pre-visualization planning. Just having
Virtually.
having a really solid like understanding of the environment and the characters and where things go. And at the stage in the project that the stop motion animators were assigned, we didn't have any kind of that planning in place. So it was a real kind of jigsaw trying to see, okay, here's the kind of camera style in the stop motion footage from this character or from this artist. This is the style from this artist. I'm everything's shot on a green screen, so it's really helpful for keying and isolating characters and props and stuff. But then it's like, okay, well, how do I place this in a 3D scene, right? And so a lot of it's just going back and forth, trying to manually align the digital camera with kind of what was done in real life. So there's a few cool shots in I think like the intro when Torn working and a few other shots where the camera was animated in physical space when it was being shot, and so I had to kind of match move the camera in digital space so that the footage would line up on the ground where it's supposed to be.
Wow. That is absolutely crazy, having to juggle so much, but it's all in service of a really good end product. What would you say some of like the most challenging? Obviously, it's all relative in terms of like the different aspects of production, but like, what was the most challenging thing in your workflow was to like overcome or to like figure out?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. I think organizing, having expectations of how quickly something will get finished was something that was important for the workflow. Say that people have, again, like real life on vacations and stuff. When you're doing animation, you have to know how quickly someone can do the animation for keying and rotoscoping, like Kodiak. You have to know, like Kodiak, you had some clips that were really rough, and you had to tell us you have to reshoot.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, some would go quicker. I remember like sometimes it would just be in less than a day. It'd be like, oh, here are 10 clips keyed, and then it's like, okay. But then other ones would take quite a while.
Just I gotta flex. I think those clips are mine because I got the paper green screen. Ooh.
So the keying and rotoscoping took probably one of the longest time. Keying and rotoscoping is so important. Kodiak, talk about like what like keying and rotoscoping is, but that was the most challenging thing, I think.
Yes, please. Tell it to me. Tell it to me like I'm stupid, because I am. I have no clue what that is.
Yeah. Well, I'd say keying is usually it's in the context of like you film something, there's a green screen or blue screen behind the subject. And ideally what you do is the keying is you remove the green screen or blue screen. Which sometimes is not so convenient if the figure you're working with is green or blue, like how a lot of the 08 sets have green eyes or maybe blue parts or blue visors and stuff. But but it's you can work with it. So it's usually that, making sure and then sometimes it's also lighting, like depends on how an animator lights the shot, and so that helps or makes the keying a lot more difficult. The rotoscoping for a lot of the shots, there are soldering stands used, especially ones by Toping had some, and then also Bolrock. I think Bar 321. Yeah, he's that
Brock
guy
has he has a lot more like those aren't soldering stands. I'm pretty sure those are like actual like the real expensive stop motion armatures.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then his frame rate is like very impressive. That's like
a
lot of frame. And so that was a lot to work with. And so it's pretty much going through. So if there's a stand that's holding or something, some gizmo holding the figure up, I have to go through each frame and then rotoscope it out, which is basically removing something from the shot. So basically So, like, there's this scene with where good guy gets carried away by Vampra. That was shot by
Iconic.
Borg 321, and I had to key and rotoscope all of that.
Absolutely
So
iconic scene.
yeah, all those frames. Imagine there was like stands holding or whatever holding Vampire and good guy, and I had to for each little frame I had to like edit it, had to remove those. So that's pretty much keying and rotoscoping. Keying is just removing the green
Wow.
screen and blue screen. Rotoscoping is removing stuff that's like I guess inconvenient or you don't want to be in the final shot. I hope I'm trying to be concise about it.
No, that
But
makes sense. You're conveying it well.
okay.
I think like also a good way of like the rotoscoping is the keying is a bit more like automatic done by the program, even though it can still
Yeah,
be
it is.
a
Yeah,
huge pain and take a while. But the rotoscoping is manual. It can sometimes be done depending on like the program and the geometry that's being rotoscoped. It can be done automatically sometimes, but it usually has to be done manually, and that's super time consuming. And also, thank you for putting up with that because, good Lord, there's some moments.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then sometimes it's making sure like you certain things are keyed in rotoscope and other things make sure other things are not. Like how the Avmator, a lot of them have green heads, and so one of the things is like okay, avoid using green screens for them, or if it's like blue or whatever. And so that's kind of something that has to be balanced out.
That must be a
But
nightmare,
that's not
especially
too
with
bad.
how many different colored parts are on Bionicle sets.
Yeah, one solution is to film them separately. So, for example, it would be like, okay, you would film Gali, Nuva separately from Liwa, and
Mhm.
that's would be much easier than it's, oh, okay, I have to do both at the same time. That would be a drag.
Definitely.
I can actually, we asked, or I asked Noah, it was a few years ago, about some of his process for the chroma keying on Gali, because like the setup he had was just the green screen, and in the shots he had the green characters and the blue characters side by side. So I was like, what did you do for that? And for that, he basically just filmed them on two separate chroma screens and then spliced them back together.
Yeah,
We
makes
have
sense.
I forget if it's gabagool or can of beans. They came up with a really creative way to get around that, where it was inspired by Power Rangers because they had the chroma screens for that, and uh, they have certain characters who can't be on the chroma screen at the same time. And so what they did is they had the green screen on one part, and then right where that one ranger is supposed to sit, it like splits off like the actual physical cloth into a blue screen. And that's how they did that. So that's how some of our animators get around those types of things.
Yeah.
That is
Mhm.
crazy. Well, I mean, hey, as hard as it is, it shows in the finished product. Like,
I'm pretty happy
what
with
would
it. Yeah.
what would I mean, when it comes to adapting material, like we mentioned before, '08 is a crazy year, and there's so much that hops around in terms of chronology.
Hmm.
What how was it trying to choose like what gets included and when? Like the decision to open with the flashback of like the Brotherhood with Mizrix. Like, just tell me about like, because I imagine you'll have to juggle a lot of that going forward too, slotting in like, oh, this is gonna be a flashback, and this is gonna be, the Mutran Chronicles, but then we're gonna cut away to
Hmm.
Mazika. Are you gonna do like standalone episodes? Are there gonna be like cutaways? Like, walk me through kind of that process of trying to
Okay.
decide what goes where.
We actually had a
So
debate about that flashback scene. It almost didn't get into the first episode.
Oh wow.
so yeah, the
Yeah.
flashback scene itself, with the creation of that, my original thought was, okay, people gotta know how and why the Makuta portrayed Nui, and that I thought that it works well to just trim originally the fat off of Mutron Chronicles
Mhm.
and just be like, this is the most important thing in Mutron Chronicles is this part with Pterodax and Miserix and everyone and seeing this confrontation and how the Makuta betrayed them, and then everything leading up for it to follow up into the next scene. I thought it was really important. As you were going further and further in production, recently, we nearly cut out that scene.
Oh wow.
We were, it had to have been like 2 or 3 months ago. Like, we were like,
It was like 1 month ago, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, we were close to just cutting it. I know the quality for that scene is not the best for it. I will.
Yeah,
admit.
that was one of the reasons.
And
yeah.
then he was just, we were like, does this like make sense like narratively? And after like us and everyone like watching it, many more times, like, okay, it does work. But when it continues on, there will be flashbacks and that, but it has to culminate for the greater story itself. Like, there's going to be a flashback for good reason for the mini deaths of Toa 2 yet, for you to know what happened. We had to write some creative narrative devices for that to happen on Metro Nui eventually, but you need to find a way for why to show a flashback to happen. Like that. Like, yeah, we're going to be a little bit jumping around in the timeline, but we'll be able to find ways to jump back and forth for it to make narrative sense. Like, I'm not somebody like, oh, this happened 100,000 years ago. Here's the creation of the Toamata for like a minute, and then jump right back to like Takanuva in the kingdom. Like, we're not going to be doing that. Like, it's just gonna be like, it could be like one of the ideas is just for us to be like the journey of Takanuva for all the alternate universes is probably going to be for multiple episodes. But yeah.
I completely forgot you also have to do like the Toa's origin. I forgot that was a part of OA.
2008
Oh, no.
was jam-packed.
It's packed. There's a lot of stuff that happens in 08, and there's a lot of big, expensive Titan characters, and Bionicle part prices are not cheap no more.
The secondhand market is not friendly, and I can imagine part of that might. This is just conjecture, but like I can ask you, secondhand prices and part availability and stuff. I imagine that plays into like some production choices. Like I noticed, in some scenes, Tanma has like Avmatoran arms, but then in one scene he has like HF 2.0 arms.
So, yeah. The reason why he has that is that we actually fully, later in production, we switched over to he needs to have the Hero Factory 2 arms for now on because it makes for better mobility
Articulation.
It's
and
also
articulation.
It's also a thing of like for fight scenes especially.
Yeah.
Like as far as like the Matoran go, Eljay, I know you have your thoughts on Solek, but from an animation perspective, Solek is legit, unironically, the best one. He is a joy to animate. Photok is like second best. Tanma, with the small with regular Avmatoran arms, I despise animating Tanma. It's painful because you can't for the sword stuff, you can't have them extend their arms for the cuts and things. I've been getting big into like HEMA and sword, like historical fencing. So I've been learning ways to incorporate things around it, but it's like, no, why can't you just have good arms? Crap, I muted.
I'm just saying, like, Solek might have been the easiest to animate, but from my perspective, Solek was also the easiest to chainsaw.
Yes.
Don't knock until you try. I mean, it's fun.
LJ never even
Um,
had beef with Solek. It was all
true.
me, but he
That's true.
chainsawed him on proxy
Yeah.
on behalf of me.
No, from the
I
shadows, you've manipulated him.
Random fun trivia. I mailed him my Solek to chainsaw. He did not chainsaw his. Anyway,
It was broken, and now it's even worse.
Pterodax would be
So-
proud of your conniving.
yeah.
So like there is parts and stuff that are super expensive these days. I will say when the project first started out, the Toa Nuva Mystica and Photoka were dirt cheap in a good way. They are not dirt cheap the way they are. Anua's mask is around $6 just for his mask.
Jeez.
Mystica. His chest piece is around $4 to $5. And you just it keeps like racking up. Like if you look at like different pieces and parts of like the Makuta, they only came in that one. Like we don't even use the in the chest of the actual figures, we don't use practical shadow leeches because they're so expensive. They don't. So if you look closely in the chest for the Tridex pods, there's no shadow leeches inside their chest. It's completely empty. It's just
And the
not
sockets
needed.
are
It's
kind
like
of got brittle in the later.
So
Yeah.
there's like cheats in ways that we're like, oh, how do we? Because if we have a production team of like 10 animators and those are so expensive, how can I find some wiggle room around with some additional things? I know for like some of the characters, one production thing that we had to recently make a decision for is that Federation of Fear is going to be all CG instead of stop motion. It's too expensive. And their Titans are too big to animate with.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. You want production to come out like this year, like not like in like a year or so, but like moving Brutaka is so hard. And then not only that, you're using Rudaka, Spiria, and other gigantic Titan characters in doing
Miserix.
action. Yeah, Miserix, and so many different like gigantic set pieces. And then we had to come up with like we had to make it CG instead. It just
also
the
a thing
prices were so expensive.
Even beyond that, from like a technical standpoint for the stop motion of them, like some of the figures, like Butaka and Rudaka, like I probably would be able to do like decent with them, like Phazon. They just make it build. However, there's some characters in there, like Axon. Axon, never try to animate, never give Axon to a stop motion animator. It is awful.
I can't even imagine it.
It's like, and imagine trying to do like a fight scene where he's got to be emoting and using his hands, and that's I get the heebie-jeebies just thinking about it.
That's the right call as someone who knows nothing about the production. Just like that all makes sense, and like the CGI work is exceptional. Like the stop motion, of course, like massive respect, but like the CGI should get credit too. Like it looked really good, so that doesn't make me sad to hear that. Like whatever makes the best product, you know.
There was a lot of times. There was a lot of times I would go up to virtual and be like, "Is this possible? Are we able to do this in CG?" And just hope and cross my fingers if he says yes or no.
Yeah, like the shadow hand. It kind of reminds me how like the commercials, like Ghost VFX did a lot of the commercials, and then a lot of those people went on to work on blockbusters like Infinity War or like Rogue One or like other stuff for like VFX, and so it was kind of interesting, like how there's someone like Virtual who worked on movies, and then it's coming to help with this project.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a blast to join and work on this project, because working on stuff that's kind of not under my own ownership or like under my own like I guess creative control. It's awesome to have as a day job, and I'm like, it's really nice to in my spare time have something that's much more like close to me, something that I can have a little bit more creative control over, and still kind of do similar stuff that I do just every day. But I did want to talk about the switch to using CGI for huge Titan characters is that factoring in cost, right? However many of these Titan characters for however many of our stop motion artists, totally infeasible. You can send a file over for free, and what in the time between between Village Attack and now, so maybe 8-ish months, I've been working on a brand new Blender material shader that can replicate pretty much any Bionicle plastic with all the dirt, the wear, the fingerprints, the scale even. So we're going to be providing this for people, in the community, so that they can do the same thing. And on top of that, I worked on a what's called an auto rigging script, where essentially you can bring in any bipedal Bionicle model, whether it has 1 joint or 2 joints per limb. You just place these little locators, click generate rig, and then it has a somewhat production quality rig ready to just parent the Bionicle pieces to, and then you have a fully functioning character to rig that is cross compatible. So I could take an animation from like Antros, right? He's got very functional limbs. I could map that onto a Matoran, and it would still work just fine because the rig is designed to support all the different characters, the character body types with the same animation data. So we're trying to have like as much cross compatibility as possible, and to have as much like creative control. And we're aiming a little bit kind of between the Lego Movie, which is fully photorealistic, and then like I think it's the Ghost production house that did the commercials that were a little bit more stylized but still quite realistic. We're trying to hit like kind of dead center in between those. And so the material work and the rigging is kind of aiming to hit those that area.
Wow. Well, fair enough.
There's also the production in with what's the thing with I just forgot the name. No, with Brutaken. Federation of Fear. There's also the slimy character. Am I allowed to talk about that, or is that somewhere?
We'll leave that for future. Yeah, we'll leave that for the future. Yeah.
Slimy character. But now I'm intrigued. Now I have to ask follow-up questions and be invasive and pry.
I wonder what it could possibly be.
Any good journalists.
It's Kapura's slime jar where he keeps all his slime.
There you go. Eljay, do you have? I've been asking a lot of questions. I'll turn it over to you for the next one.
No, absolutely. I think we should kind of start to wrap up a little bit in just a moment. But I was very curious. Obviously enough, we've been involved in many projects over the years of all different sizes, scales, endeavors. And one of the most interesting things for us, especially coming from a heavy vocal use background, podcasting and voice acting, is of course the voice acting. Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us how casting worked out. Tell us about the vocal direction and kind of how that all worked for this project.
Regular overlord.
You want me to do that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's you. You're in charge of all of my voice actors.
I think you really do give me too much credit, because I kind of showed up during the pandemic, and it was really just me wanting to help. My background's in theater, so I was just like, do you want me to run like a little workshop, and we can really hammer in on people who all came here purely out of passion and just wanting to be involved, and many having no experience at all. And he's like, yeah, I do that. And it was just really fun, just doing basic breathing, basic technique. So these mostly amateurs, we have a lot of people who just love their characters so much, and it's just grounding them into being authentically them without having to copy a character from previous media. And that was a huge hit. I think it was. I had a lot of fun with it. And that's kind of what they just threw that title at me after. It's like, yes, you can do this now. And it really was a lot of reviewing and making sure people understood their equipment, what limits it would be. And, you can do any sort of project you want. You don't have to drop like $1,000 on equipment. You don't have to do any of that. and like everyone said, like everyone's busy, so getting lines is kind of challenging, and the casting itself I wasn't truly a part of. I reviewed, and it's like, you know, what direction was wanted was from the main staff members, and I was just like, yeah, I like their technique. It was really as far as it would go, but we're going to definitely be reaching for in the future of really grounding characters, because voice acting is different than regular acting, as you guys can all
Oh, yeah.
tell, because you don't see what they're doing behind the scenes, and they have to put all that emotion and intention strictly in their voice without hurting themselves, as you can tell from people who scream a lot or
Oh yeah.
have more
we don't know anyone
dramatic
like that.
voices.
We're a calm, quiet group. We don't do screaming.
Very,
Yes.
very calm, very demure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
but but it's really, I love character work, and it's really a passion of mine. Episode 1 was basically more done recorded when I came in to do that. I was mostly reviewing. But you know, going forward, I really like, I'm like, guys, like if you want to work on your scenes, hit me up. Like I will be there. I want you to feel as comfortable with your lines as possible. And watching this final draft, this is the first time I've seen it. Just listening to everyone, like the intention is there, and they don't hear the sound effects when they're recording, they don't hear the music when they're recording, so having it all come together, like, I really hope they feel inspired as we move forward, the possibilities, because the team knocked it out of the park. Like you said, jaws on the floor, I was, like, almost crying, like, this is so beautiful that I'm so thankful to be here, and everyone that's a part of this that wanted to be a part of this, and the passion really shows. So, you know, passion goes a long way with this, and I don't really have to do much of anything. I'm not gonna lie.
Overlord, do not
They
sell yourself short. Do not sell yourself short. Mm-mm. It's not okay. Mm-mm-mm.
I do and I know I said that in the beginning too. It's just like, y'all are so qualified and so cool. I'm just happy to be here. I'm really just super happy to be here, and I love acting too. It's gonna be so fun. Like Lovis keeps like hyping me up. It's like, yo, we got like the best animator for your scene, and I'm sitting like, yay! It's gonna be so fun. I don't think I answered your question, but
No, but I mean, hey, listen, like, I get it. I get the passion. I get the hype, and I think it helps too, like to have people in positions of like key leadership in projects that like are just thrilled to be there. You know, like
Thrilled to be here.
exactly, like it's motivating for everybody, I think, and it makes everybody feel good, and it has that like camaraderie and that shared passion, especially when you're working on something for so long. So more power to you guys. Honestly, it's very, very
Yeah.
respectable.
I
And
did
well,
want to
I
ask you
just want to.
guys
Oh.
what I did want to ask you guys what your favorite moments were from the stop motion for episode 1.
LJ, would you like to go first?
Absolutely. There were a handful I really liked. I my favorite moment when I was watching it with Meso, because we both watched at the same time, was when Good Guy was like picked up by Vampra and then like had all the light sucked out and then dropped. Meso went, he's gonna turn into bad guy, and then he did, and I went, oh my goodness, he's actually turning into bad guy. That's so clever. That's wonderful. That was a joy. Like small stuff like that. I really did like that scene kind of toward the end where the Matoran are battling the Makuta, and it's after they lost their vision, and which actually just reminded me, loved the subtlety of Matoro falling from the sky. Like it was a portion of the episode, but it wasn't drawn out. It was just, hey, this happens, and it has weight and gravitas, and it's just really enjoyable to see. So there's so much of it that I think is just really outstanding.
My favorite part is probably when the Makuta destroyed the village and they were attacking. A lot of the animation in that section was just incredibly fluid. But like other highlights, the good guy, bad guy bit was incredible. Weirdly enough, the scene with Andros talking to Kirox was like really, really good. I don't know, just seeing those two talk to each other and hearing like the subtleties in the VA's performance, like wonderful, wonderful scene. The Photok flying through the air, coasting along the
Photok
rocks.
one shot.
Yeah, the cool patented cool Photok moment. I was like, yeah.
Shout out to Lee's for that. That was Lee's animating that. Boom, that was insane.
I love that. Made me very happy to see. And like another thing I would want to say, the introduction with the Maranui stone story, that like you start off, and I was at first when I started it, I was like, okay, this is kind of necessary to put here. But like, you know, we've all seen this many times before. This is like Bionicle staple, but then it turned into something new, and it was like, oh, the other years kind of represented in this format. And that was cool to see. And then the Paraka had personalized stones, and I was like 10 out of 10. This is great. That was when I knew I was gonna love it. That was all you needed to do.
That took so long to develop, like
Really?
in a good way. Like it was because all the music is original. All the music in this is original until the credits. And so we're like, okay, how do we put like musical cues for each story year? So for like every like 2 to 3 years, if you listen, you can hear different people's soundtrack. So like 2001 to 2003, it changes. So 2004 to 2005, that's one composer, and then 2006 to 2007, that's another composer. I know people really liked when hearing the Bionicle Heroes theme for the 2006 story. People in our screening were really excited about hearing about that.
Yeah, I remember that. That was like, oh, hey, it was that. And it gives a bit of thematic continuity. I think I forgot what Marty O'Donnell called it. I think talked about with Halo 3 soundtrack. It was emotional equity, where you take these tracks that came for and then you reuse them in a way, and it kind of like reminds things.
Because one of the reasons why we made that opening was like, okay, maybe someone might become a new Bionicle fan or might not understand what's going on. Let's give like a little bit of an introduction before I toss someone into the water and then tell them how to swim.
Yeah.
Because I know the 2008 story is gigantic. So that's like, I'm like, we have to have an introduction. I know it sounds dumb because we're about to shove people midway in story and it's about to get really messy really soon. So I think people need a little bit of like a little bit of a retrospective, like, here's the story so far. All right, is everyone good? All right, let's go. We're going straight into it.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, those are some of my favorite moments.
I wanted to say thank you very much for the good guy, the compliments on the good guy transformation, because I animated that, and that was one of like, I think once I started animating stuff that wasn't the test for the 2003 Matoran, that was one of the first ideas that I had, and it was so cool to finally see it in the final thing.
It looked really good. It was really well done, and the concept and the execution is just glorious. It's so fun.
Thank you. One of the things, it's similar to the Radiac scene or Radiac transforms, because I animated that as well, is I'm not sure how well it shows in the VFX, but the way I animated that was replacement. You can see when like the body parts are changing. I took similarly shaped pieces and did like a morph with them. So I take I think from the 2 staff pieces that Good Guy has, I shifted that from a Gurok to a Layrock staff, and then into the Good Guy claw from Bohatu, and then switched that for a yellow one to have the morph in there.
That's so
That's
cool.
so
It kind of reminds me of the Lego Movie in a sense, because they also utilize for like swoosh effects. They utilize pieces in a way that resembles whatever they're gunning for, but it's a really creative use of Lego elements.
Absolutely.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
So when we were creating like the scripting for episode 1, I wanted it to be like about like the Matoran, more the Matoran story, and also really showcase of how terrifying the Makuta are. Like the big thing was when we created the village attack scene, that's not from a source material. That we made that on our own because Tama sees that in the distance. So I
Mhm.
was like, okay, well, so Tama sees this. I don't like that. We need to show it happening. I think to show like how terrifying the Makuta are. I mean, these are 42 powered monster gods, basically. Like they are terrifying and horrible creatures. Just for like the everyday person to like see them just like land would be awful, and that's
Mhm.
why I wanted to make this scene instead of just showing it in the distance and be like,
And it was
well, like
conveyed
what's
very
this?
well, like their
Yeah.
movement, the weight to their actions, like everything with Vampra, like perfectly executed, like cut such an imposing presence. And I like how
Hmm.
you pepper in all their different abilities, which is hard because they have so many abilities. And I was
They have
joking with LJ, I was like, "Oh man, couldn't Miserix have just used dodge to dodge the handcuff? Like,
yeah, yeah,
you could never account for everything."
like we had there was it was going to be much longer even the village attack, but we cut a lot of it, some of it out because it was just like, okay, we get the point. Like they're destroying the village. It's becoming a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Like Andros was going to use like chain lightning to shoot down Matoran that were flying away on their
Oh
jetpacks,
jeez.
and I was just
That's
like, okay,
crazy.
like that's it was gonna be a lot. Like we filmed a lot of Matoran. I probably filmed like more than 15 Matoran, and we scrapped it because I was just like, it's too much. Like we get the point. Like they took over the village, and then after they took over this village, they went to every single one except for Solex village, which is the one where they see Matoro at.
Makes sense after a while because you already had so much action and like you know when to stop because
Hmm.
overindulgence is a thing, especially when it starts to hurt like pacing and narrative flow.
Hmm.
But it's also really cool to
Agreed.
just feel like characters let loose. So it's
Yeah.
a balancing act, but you balanced it well.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So I
what
think
do
we're gonna go ahead and wind down. And
Yeah.
would you guys like to share any kind of final thoughts? Anything that you'd like to encourage viewers to look forward to, or any way that anyone can get involved? Like share kind of your final thoughts on things before, or maybe even after people have seen this episode.
My thoughts? We
Uh.
need more stop motion animators. Get stop motion animators. Get in here.
Well, there you go.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. If
And
you're interested, email me at lovice2012@gmail.com if you're interested in doing stop motion animation, keying, rotoscoping, and more. We're always looking for more team members to join this over 140 people team.
Insane.
We are currently not casting at this time.
Yes,
yeah,
we
no
are
more
not
group
looking
voice
for voice
actors.
actors. We are good.
If there will be casting calls, if so, but like just putting it out there.
Yeah, we casted every voice actor that we could think of for all the 2008 stories so far. Unless something pops up where we need more people, we will let you know. But yeah, things that to keep an eye on for Project Nui Rising in the future. Uh, behind the scenes videos, those are going to be coming out. We're going to maybe have some short stories that's going to be coming out as well in animation. A small mini series that we're going to be doing with that. And of course, episode 2, Home, that'll be coming out in the future. We don't have a release date for that. We just got out episode 1, but it uh, future episodes are going to be shorter. They're not going to be like nearly 30 minutes long. That's just to help out production in the future.
So episode 2 is next week. Got it. You heard it here first, folks.
Please don't. Y'all.
Ignition tomorrow.
My emails are already plugged up for when is Ignition 3, and people saying that to me once a week. Please don't.
That's actually
Mob.
no. The thing is about that is I was a part of the Noah Productions community a while before I was involved with Nui Rising, and that's really kind of full circle, because in his server, there was this joke of when is Ignition 3? When is Ignition 3? Because he like said I'm not doing it. So that's really funny that it's continued into the actual Ignition 3 now that it's actually coming out.
Yeah, people have asked me if I'm doing 2009 and 2010, and I've said no.
Give me $1 billion, yeah.
Look, if you're an oil tycoon and you wanna fund some amazing computing power and give me every single Bionicle set to 10 people, yeah, we can make 2010 and 2009 a possibility.
You're already doing 08. What more do people want? Like, that's the most.
Yeah.
They want
like
more.
At least, like with 2009 and 2010, like they already have like a movie and like a little video thing that Lego made. 2008 is the one where all of the convoluted stuff happens and there's nothing for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think also the point is just like the project is focusing on 1 year in particular, and so just focus on that, the book, and then the other stuff before considering anything else. It's like, yeah, you were saying, Meso?
Exactly.
No, that was it. Like, it's such a daunting prospect already, and it has the least visualization. Now, like, it would be cool. Go back into the other Ignition years, but in this style. Make 777 steps in real life. You know, make a full staircase and do stop motion on them. No,
that's all right. Yeah, see, this has been kind of a fun leapfrogging of creative endeavors. So you have Noah Productions and his 2 Ignition films, and we have this series, and so now the torch will be passed to the next group to do 2009 and 2010, which will be us. But we're doing it in Minecraft, and
All right, go ahead.
Lee was going to sound way different in this one. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. It's also like it's just cool. Sort of like this is the last piece, especially with the Ignition films being, and like Ignition being a trilogy. It's 2006, 2007, 2008. It's like that's the perfect little little cap to put on it.
Yeah, exactly. It makes the most sense. And good on you for setting realistic boundaries and expectations, being like, this is what we're doing, no more, no less. You know, good on you.
But we do want to inspire other people in the community to start, projects up, by themselves, whether it's, a solo person or a team of people. We really want to make as much of this possible for as many people as possible, because the Bionicle community is very, it's I wouldn't say it's like declining in number, but it's definitely like it's an older franchise. There's kind of the OGs that are from a while back that are still in the community, and then some new people like myself coming into the community. So our project, I think, wants to really help as many people new and existing in the community make new Bionicle projects, whether it be stop motion, whether it be like a little comic, like anything. We want to kind of help cultivate that, and other projects inspire people to do that.
Very admirable goal.
And also do not. I was gonna say, don't be discouraged from making stuff about 2008 and different parts of the 2008 story just because we are also doing that. We do not own the 2008 story,
Exactly,
and quite a few of the parts of it, our interpretation of it is not going to be out for a while. If you really want to do Voltraz and Mazika and have them go on silly little adventures and get married in space, do that. Make your beautiful little vision for whatever part of the Bionicle story you want to adapt.
So true. Very good words. Well, thank you guys. This was This was a blast. I feel like I learned a lot, and really, genuinely, like I cannot say it enough. Incredible work.
Thank you.
Ignition's always been my favorite trilogy. Getting to see it depicted like this, it makes me very happy, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This
Appreciate
was
it. Thank
nice.
you.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
This is amazing. Thank you for having us on.
Thank you for
Mhm.
all making the time. I know this took a little bit to schedule, but from folks that we've been involved in so many different projects over the years, like I know I'm celebrating 20 years in the community in a little bit.
That's crazy. You are so
And-
old.
Damn.
I must say a huge congratulations. We know how much goes into large scale projects, and we also are very familiar with people that anticipate so much when you announce something, and so to see that come to fruition and actually get to be presented as a finished piece of art, I know how gratifying that is. Congratulations. You all deserve all the accolades, and we're really excited to see reception to it and all our support. And thank you so much for sharing all of this with us today. It is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been amazing.
So
All right.
that is gonna do it. I think we'll go ahead and end there. Again, link will be in the description below. Please head on over there, send them some love, post in their comments what you think about it, what you loved, what you loved, what you loved. We will not accept anything further. And yeah, that's gonna be everything. Again, thank you all so much for being here. I'm LJ.
I'm Meso.
And we're going to go ahead and call it a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you all again next time. Farewell.
Goodbye.